Greetings, mortals! Welcome to another session of the Infernal Court in musical hell. I'm Diva, your judge, jury, executioner, and I've said it once and I'll say it again. I'm a demon. I don't do fair. The judgments rendered in this court are entirely a matter of personal bias, and I don't deny that. You want mercy and justice, that's what the other side is for. If I were going to be fair, however, I would say that most of those responsible for the movies I judge are not bad people. They were just trying to make a good movie, or at least a movie popular enough to make money, and no true malice was involved in their actions. That is not the case with our next offender, Legends of Oz: Dorothy's Return. Although it came out in 2014, the tawdry tale behind this film goes back to 2006. That's when Alpine Pictures, a production company run by brothers Ryan and Roland Carroll, began seeking investments for an animated sequel to The Wizard of Oz, based on a book by Roger Stanton Baum, great-grandson to L. Frank. Nothing so terrible about that, except the Carrolls and executive producer Neil Kaufman solicited funds from unaccredited investors, people who lacked the money or knowledge necessary to make high-risk investments. They sought donations through cold calls and even encouraged people to dip into their retirement accounts to come up with money. Cease and desist orders were issued in 9 different states against the company and in Australia as well. You can find the legal paperwork online, but suffice it to say that these guys operate in the same shady business zone occupied by timeshare rentals and online psychics. The result was one of the most disappointing box office performances ever for an animated feature, which caused another of the film's producers, Greg Centineo, to claim the movie's failure was due to a big Hollywood conspiracy to sink the independently produced film. I think once we examine the case of Legends of Oz: Dorothy's Return, we'll see it didn't need such assistance. During a very drawn-out credit sequence set to music that sounds like The Wizard of Oz and Wicked had a baby that got adopted by John Williams, we see the list of used-to-bes and almost-ares that managed to get themselves into this mess. Leah Michele, Megan Hilty, Patrick Stewart, Bernadette Peters. Bryan Adams? Well, at least we can be assured this movie will have the most 1990s soundtrack money can buy. Finally, after the kids in the audience have already gotten restless, we open on a dark and stormy night in Oh gee, thanks, I never would have guessed. I mean, it's only one of the most recognizable images in the entire Oz canon. Speaking of which, Dorothy's former traveling companions are here to provide the setup exposition.
I need you two to stand guard while I try to contact Dorothy.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Contact Dorothy?
How? I'm a genius, remember?
But she's probably forgotten all about us by now.
Time in Oz passes differently than in her world. It's been years since she destroyed the Wicked Witches, but to her, it's going to seem like only yesterday.
Can Narnia sue for universe copyright infringement? Just curious. As the Scarecrow boots up the magical multiverse communication pipe organ thing, Dorothy wakes up and... All right, enough with the super titles! This is Oz, one of the major pop cultural touchstones of the past 100 years. There's no need to remind us what's what. Anyway, Dorothy has a good look around her and sees just how much damage that Twister did to the family farm.
Dorothy? Oh, Dorothy.
It's not fair!
Wait, stop. Sin number 1 right here. What happened to the setting? The original books and the famous 1939 film were set in the early 20th century, but here all of a sudden Dorothy and her family have leapt forward a good 60 or 70 years minimum. The Wizard of Oz has a certain timelessness to it, but this immediate lack of consistency indicates that you haven't paid much attention to your source material, and we'll see more evidence of that as this goes on. A shady appraiser, Martin Short in his official "and you were there" role, comes by to assess the damage on the house, which he immediately condemns as unfit to live in to Dorothy's chagrin.
What? Read this.
There's no reason to kick us out. We can fix it.
Dorothy, hold on.
I'll fix it myself if I have to.
And coming in close behind, sin number 2. The appraiser's obviously a crooked sort, but he's making more sense than the protagonist. Even if the house is salvageable, it's going to be uninhabitable for some time. Dorothy's "no, please, we can fix it" reaction seems completely irrational in the face of the visual evidence.
If he says the house is unsafe, I won't have you in it.
Who is he to decide that?
No, you know what, you're right. Let's follow the advice of the hysterical 10-year-old with absolutely no architectural experience. How do you think that will work for them, Nessa? Dorothy doesn't help her case by making some futile attempts to patch things up while singing her poor man's Over the Rainbow substitute.
But I feel so small. What can I do at all?
But no sooner has she finished the song, which is already fading from the audience's memory, that a rainbow wants to taste her. No, sorry, there's no way you're going to make a rainbow look threatening to anybody who isn't a Fox News anchor. While on her psychedelic journey, Dorothy gets some we're in trouble and only you can help us set up from her old friends.
You guys, dragging me into a giant rainbow really scared me.
I can only imagine how you must feel. Trapped alone in a giant rainbow, surrounded by colors. It must be just horrible.
That does it. The original trio gets sin number 3. They're just so obnoxious. They bicker, they make lame jokes, and they contribute absolutely nothing to the plot beyond providing the means of getting Dorothy back to Oz.
Ever since he got his heart, he's been all over the place.
I never had emotions before. I just want to try them all out.
Oh yeah, and they embody extreme versions of the qualities they initially desired. The Scarecrow is a supercomputer, the Tin Man an emotional basket case, and the Lion is a belligerent braggart. Look, movie, it's very obvious that you're familiar with The Wizard of Oz, since you spend so much time ripping it off, and yet you display so little understanding of it. The whole point was that the wizard didn't change anybody because he didn't have to. They were already smart and kind and brave. All they needed was a reminder of what they were capable of. It's difficult enough trying to follow in the footsteps of something so widely beloved, but when you demonstrate a complete ignorance of the material whose coattails you want to ride, that's disrespectful to both it and your audience. The rainbow transport is interrupted by a flying monkey attack, so Dorothy gets dumped somewhere in the hinterlands and has to travel the rest of the way to Emerald City on foot. Been there, done that. Dorothy wishes the good witch Glinda were available to help, and speak of the angel, here's Glinda being led captive before our movie's villain.
Ah, the jester.
Isn't it wonderful? When two great powers as you and I meet face to face, peer to peer, toe to toe.
Our villain, ladies and gentlemen! Meet sin number 4, the Jester. This character aims for the same funny, terrifying vibe as the Joker and misses by an infernal mile. He capers, bounces about like a Super Bowl on crack, never speaks below a crazed shout, and is generally so ridiculous that he never feels legitimately threatening.
Oh, I do so love having important guests.
There, you see? No self-respecting villain rides a unicycle. Except this guy. His villain song doesn't help either. It's mostly about how his sister, the Wicked Witch of the West, turned him into a clown, and sounds like Martin Short recorded it while sitting in the Tin Man's chest cavity.
I shall possess my one happiness. The power I covet. And who wouldn't love it with you?
So the Jester's all, I've turned the Wicked Witch's broom into a magical staff and will rule Oz. And Glinda's all, Dorothy will stop you because nothing around here gets done unless we bring in a Kansas farm girl. And I'm all, no really, this is one of those springtime for Hitler deals, isn't it? Long story short, Glinda refuses to back the Jester's bid for power, so it's on to plan B.
Where once your living soul did dwell, now is nothing but an empty shell. Now do you approve?
You rule, oh generous jester.
Look, there's nothing wrong with getting a little scary in your kids' movies. Everybody needs to learn to deal with fear sometimes. But this? You're really playing with matches here. Being what I am and living where I do, I've built up a tolerance to nightmarish imagery, but for a mortal, this kind of thing is a one-way ticket to the psycho ward. Don't believe me? Oh, Animat!
Eh?
Hello, Dorothy. And
No! No! It's you! It's you again! No! The Soul Stealer of Oz! It's the Soul Stealer of Oz! No! 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 Not again! No! I just got my soul back! No! No! Please! No!
I rest my case. In a less sanity-destroying part of Oz, Dorothy is running into the first of her next generation of travel buddies, and the movie wastes no time busting out the fat jokes.
My theory is that I'm just not quite the right height. If I were twice as tall, for instance.
This is Wiser, an owl who runs at the mouth a lot and who can't fly, which means he will be compelled by plot to do so in about, say, 40 minutes of screen time. But for now, he helps Dorothy find the severely in need of maintenance Yellow Brick Road, while the Jester overacts as he sets a trap for our heroine and sends the flying monkeys to capture the Emerald City posse.
Fly, my baby!
Please stop referencing the Better Oz movie. You're not doing yourself any favors. The Jester's evil plan is to trick Dorothy into eating the candy in Candy County, which is mainly an excuse for a sugar orgy accompanied by a psychedelic freakout song.
Licorice, caramel, peppermint, butterscotch, cherry, sour, shortcake, candy canes, ice cream.
That's almost the most disturbing thing in the movie, but, well...
hello, Dorothy.
Inevitably, their gluttony attracts the attention of the local law enforcement.
I'm being arrested by a giant marshmallow?
Marshall Mallow.
What did we do?
Violation of Section 8, Paragraph 12 of Penal Code 16165. Eating candy.
Wait. You're telling me you knew the no-eating law the whole time? You even knew what part of the penal code it was. And you didn't think the suddenly encouraging signs were suspicious? I haven't had to bust this out in a while, but... Dorothy and Wiser are put on trial and sentenced to death for eating the residents in a scene that's mostly an excuse for some terrible candy jokes.
Your Honor, they are entitled to a verdict from a jury of their peeps.
Whatever you paid for that product placement, it was too much.
And your name is?
Dorothy Gale.
This girl is one of the greatest heroes Oz has ever known. She's well above reproach.
Well, good thing that never happens in the real world. Imagine how many people would abuse their fame and power to get away with breaking the law. Anyway, the end result is Mallow ends up joining the party so he can search for his general, because he's one of those slave-to-duty types who needs somebody to give him orders. And off we go to the next set piece.
What a great wall!
It's made of china.
What a great wall of China.
In order to pass through China Country, they need permission from the China Princess, so Dorothy gets them in by claiming Mallow is a suitor for the princess's hand, which leads to an extended sub-Gilbert and Sullivan exercise that allows Megan Hilty to show off her upper range. Wow, this movie took a sharp dive into Turandote territory. Does it surprise anybody that the China Princess is coming along for the ride, too? Of course not, because sin number 6 is that this is the same plot as The Wizard of Oz, only less so. You have Dorothy traveling to the Emerald City, singing songs and picking up friends while the villain harasses her and sets stumbling blocks. We've seen it all before, and we've seen it done better. The original Oz protagonists had personality. They were resourceful and loyal and made us believe they were willing to face all challenges to get what they wanted. These characters don't do that. Their personalities and goals are just sketched in. Instead of brains, heart, and courage, we have an owl who wants upper body strength, a confection that needs to learn self-authorization, and a princess who has to drop the spoiled royal attitude. That doesn't exactly capture the imagination. The journey hits a snag when the heroes come to a collapsed bridge, causing Dorothy to seek other means of traveling the river.
No! Hey! Oh!
I didn't mean any harm. We're trying to get to Emerald City, and to do it we need wood.
Hey, I know her. Isn't she the one that stole the apples off Uncle Manny?
You know, it is refreshing to run into someone who doesn't immediately start gushing over Dorothy the Witch Slayer and giving her what she wants, no questions asked. But it doesn't last, since a gnarled old tree named Tug offers up his body as a sacrifice to the plot, so it's time for a building montage song complete with a Bryan Adams cameo.
Together till the end, huh? All I need is some help from my friends.
And so everybody arrives at the Emerald City, which is all fog-shrouded and ooh spooky. All Dorothy finds inside is a message from the Scarecrow explaining what the audience already knows, and the Jester doing his "I am Oz, the Great and Powerful" impression.
What have you done with my friends?
Your friends? What a coincidence! Why, I've got them right here! See? I have all the comforts of home!
I just thought of something. Why didn't the Jester turn these guys into marionettes too? They're all pretty high on the Oz political spectrum now. You'd think they'd wind up in the collection of puppet rulers. Oh, I just got that. So now it's off to the villain's castle. Gee, where have we heard that before? But the Jester tricks them into going down a tributary with, though I'm just making a wild guess here, a waterfall?
Oh no.
Called it. Of course, the Jester assumes this means they're finished, and of course everybody survived. Mostly.
Oh no.
Okay, problem.
Cares!
There's no reason to care that the China Princess is lying in pieces all over the ravine floor. While there's been a hint or two that there's more to her than aristocratic vanity, she's mostly been one big pain in the tail ever since we met her.
You're bouncing. This is very uncomfortable. I hope you're not going to be like this the whole trip. I am a princess, remember?
There hasn't been near enough development of this character or her relationship with the other characters to make the grief they feel believable, especially for Mallow. Oh yeah, he has a thing for the China Princess. Did I mention that? Because the movie doesn't bother with it, apart from a few, "Oh, I think I might like this person" glances. That's not a relationship. Certainly not enough of one to warrant the soppy love ballad Mallow sings while he uses his sticky candy body to patch the princess together.
If my voice should start to tremble, if I am shaking, I love you now, like I loved you even then.
Besides, we all know she pulls through. This movie isn't near brave enough to bump off a supporting character. Dorothy decides she has to go confront the Jester alone because she can't risk anyone else getting hurt for her sake, and basically...
because that's the way it's done.
Meanwhile, the Jester commits one of the standard bad guy mistakes by abusing his underling, and Weiser gets sent for reinforcements so he can get what passes for his character arc.
You're flying!
Dorothy enters the Jester's castle, where she finds...
No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Moving on. Jester shows up trying harder than ever to convince us he's worthy to fill Heath Ledger's monster clown shoes, and he's all set to unleash the puppet mojo on Dorothy when... Again with Toto foiling things with a curtain. Does this movie not have a single original idea? Mohawk Monkey uses the opportunity to steal the scepter, imagine that, and Dorothy's friends arrive with reinforcements and sin number 8. What ensues is one of those secondary character melees that animated movies sometimes throw in as a lead-up to the main confrontation, but it's not inventive enough to be funny or exciting. Monkeys get hit with candy, people play keep away with the scepter, and the whole thing goes on for much longer than necessary. It all ends with the monkeys deciding, screw this, we're out of here, which, frankly, could have been accomplished when the jester started kicking them around, and the jester summoning a big magic twister because Oz iconography.
In a twister, you fell from the sky, and in a twister, you shall die!
Inevitably, the scepter is busted, the jester gets hoisted by his own pitchfork, the puppet people are back to normal, and Dorothy, having learned the power of friendship and working together, gets to go home.
Goodbye, Dorothy. And thank you.
If Glinda could do that the first time around, you know what, never mind, it's almost over. We just have to tie up the real world loose end.
Has anybody even looked at this?
Give me!
No!
Give me! Watch it! Someone get me out of here! Would you stop it?
Look! Look! Who is this guy?
I think Toto is the real hero of this movie. I'm surprised he didn't get top billing. And so, having dispatched of the con artist, we end with scenes of the town rebuilding, accompanied by a list of people who were conned into paying for this movie.
One day there'll be laughter, blue skies ever after. One day it's gonna be fine.
Legends of Oz: Dorothy's Return was originally intended to be a direct-to-DVD release, and boy does it show! The animation isn't Swan Princess Christmas level horrible, but it is still flat and disturbing in places, the songs are forgettable, and the characters lack the charm that made The Wizard of Oz such an enduring classic. And the fact that it uses a scam artist as a plot catalyst when the movie's own production history is so sketchy adds further insult. Therefore, the Court of Musical Hell orders the following punishments. For ripping off so much of their source material, the screenwriters are condemned to haunt the background of the 1939 Wizard of Oz movie. For all the nightmares they've caused, the animators responsible for Puppet Glinda are condemned to be trapped with their own creation. Finally, to the Carroll brothers, Neil Kaufman, and their assorted accomplices, as much as I would like to handle you myself, I'm afraid you boys are out of my jurisdiction. Fraud goes to the 8th circle, and they're really old school down there. Burning flames, affliction with painful diseases, wallowing in excrement. Just like with The Wizard of Oz, you can't beat the classics. So let it be recorded. This session of the Infernal Court in Musical Hell is now adjourned.